At 2:11 a.m., in Abaddon, it was raining, the kind of rain that felt like it came with a warning. Thunder cracked across the sky, loud and sharp, like it was trying to wake the entire city from its sleep. A narrow street off Okadu lay empty, soaked, quiet, except for the soft splash of shoes moving quickly through puddles. A man in a faded brown jacket stopped in front of a small bungalow. His hands trembled, not from cold, but from what he was holding. A black envelope. Inside it, the kind of truth that could burn a country to the ground. Samuel Adebayo was not a man easily shaken. He had fought in battles, seen corpses with their eyes open, buried his sister with his own hands. But tonight, this night, felt different. He had found it. Finally, the last piece of the puzzle. Names, faces, bank records, hidden cameras, drug routes, the video, everything. He looked up at the sky, water dripping from his lashes. Bisola, it's almost time. Your son will know. He'll know who destroyed you. His phone buzzed in his pocket. A name appeared. Fullerin, journalist. He picked. Sam. The voice was shaky. You said you're on your way? Samuel exhaled. Yes. 10 minutes. Hurry. I have a secure drive ready. Once I get it, I'll upload everything. Even if they kill me, this story will never die. Samuel nodded slowly. Good. Make sure you. A sound. He turned. Behind him, in the shadows, a figure moved. Hello, Samuel. The voice was familiar. Too familiar. Samuel's heart dropped. He knew that voice. From years ago. From a time he'd buried in his mind. You, he whispered. A flash of steel. A stab. Blood. Another. Then another. Samuel stumbled back, falling to his knees on the wet concrete, his hand clutching his side. The black envelope slipped from his grip and into the gutter, the ink smearing away with the floodwater. You should have stayed in the past, the voice said. A final stab, straight into his heart. Samuel's mouth opened. No sound came out, just blood. As his eyes faded, he saw the figure walk away, calm, coat fluttering in the wind. Then darkness. The rain kept falling. 7:34 a.m. Lagos. Detective Ayomide Adebayo stood beside his car, eyes fixed on his phone. One new voicemail. Ayomide, if you get this, it means I'm gone. Don't trust anyone. Not the police. Not the press. There's a name you must find, Aziz. He took everything from your mother. From me. He's not who he says he is. There's a flash drive inside the small black box under my bed. Take it and run. The message ended. Ayomide didn't move. He couldn't. His mind had stopped working. His breath caught in his throat. Uncle Sam, what have you gotten into? He whispered. Then, without another thought, he turned around, jumped into his car, and headed straight for Abaddon. Abaddon, 11:16 a.m. The house smelled like rain and old herbs. Ayomide hadn't stepped foot into his uncle's bungalow in over 6 months. And yet, everything still looked exactly the same. The bookshelf filled with dusty hardbacks and military memoirs. The framed photo of Bisola, his supposed aunt, smiling in front of a white chapel. The little stool by the door where Samuel used to sit and chew bitter cola while telling his war stories. But now the stool was empty, and Samuel was dead. Ayomide's fists clenched. His jaw tightened. There was a heaviness in his chest that wouldn't go away, like something had been ripped out of him. He didn't cry. Not yet. Crying was a luxury he'd never known. He locked the front door and went straight to the bedroom. Samuel's bed was made. His radio still sat beside his pillow, quietly humming a static tune. Ayomide dropped to his knees. He reached under the bed slowly, half expecting to find nothing, half praying he did. His fingers brushed against something cold. A metal box. He pulled it out, heart thumping. Small, black, locked. Samuel always said, if I die before you know the truth is inside iron. Ayomide stood, carried the box to the table, and forced it open with a kitchen knife. Inside, a flash drive, a notebook, a faded photo, and a tiny cassette recorder. He reached for the photo first. A young woman in a white dress, smiling shyly. Behind her, a man stood, tall, sharp-faced, wearing a cap. The man looked familiar. Too familiar. Iomedes' hand shook. He had seen that face before. On posters. On billboards. In the news. Alhaji Aziz Adediran, the country's future president. The man hailed as the new hope for Nigeria. The man is uncle, just linked to his mother. His real mother? Iomedes didn't even know. He had asked once, just once, and Samuel had changed the subject. He never asked again. Now he had no choice. He opened the notebook. Inside were scribbled dates, names, and symbols. At the top of the first page, UI, 1996, Black Sun's Cult. Bisola, victim. Victim? Iomedes flipped through pages and pages of what looked like a personal investigation. Drug routes from Semeh border. List of Aziz's allies. Politicians, police chiefs, journalists. Then a full page. The tape. Underlined 3 times. Below it, scrawled in jagged ink. Aziz used a charm. That's how he got her. She couldn't remember. She cried every day after the video dropped. Then the car accident. She didn't die, but she wished she had. Iomedes froze. The cassette recorder in the box blinked red. He pressed play. My name is Samuel Adebayo. If you're listening to this, I've probably been silenced. I've kept this secret for over 25 years. My sister, Bisola, was raped by a cultist who later became Aziz Adediran. He used charm on her. She didn't even know what happened until she was pregnant. That baby was you, Iomedes. Everything blurred. Iomedes staggered backward, the tape still playing. I raised you because she couldn't. She lost herself after the video went viral. She died inside, even before the car crash took her legs. She told me not to tell you. Said it was better that way. But now Aziz wants to be president, and I can't keep quiet anymore. Click. The tape stopped. Iomedes sat there, staring at the ceiling, his chest heaving. His world had just shifted, and it would never go back to the way it was. Meanwhile, in Ilorin, 3:07 p.m., Shola Balogu was on her knees in the archive room of the Vanguard Times. Shola Balogu. Old newspaper clippings and dusty case files surrounded her. Her editor had gone to lunch, but Shola was restless. She couldn't let this case go. It started with a tip. A missing witness. A dead journalist. A drug ring that ran too clean. And one name that kept popping up in whispers. Aziz. She didn't have proof. Not yet. But something about the man didn't sit right with her. His eyes. Too careful. His smile. Too clean. Her senior colleague, Follerin, had warned her. Be careful poking giants. Sometimes the only thing you get back is a foot on your neck. Sheila didn't care. She had always been drawn to unsolved things. Missing pieces. Ghosts. And this case felt personal, though she didn't know why. She pulled out an old manila folder from the 2004 cold case section. The name Bisola Adebayo was faintly typed on the front. Sheila blinked. Her surname. Coincidence? She flipped it open. A photo slipped out. A woman in white. Same soft eyes. Same cheekbones. And written in pen at the top of the report. Victim of cult-related assault. Suspect. Unknown. Child unconfirmed. Attached to a scribbled note. Ask Samuel Adebayo. Sheila's heart stopped. I know that name, she whispered. She pulled out her phone and searched. Samuel Adebayo, Ibadan. Top headline. Former soldier found dead in Ibadan under suspicious circumstances. Date, last night. Sheila's throat dried. Whatever she was looking into, it had already started killing people. She took a deep breath and whispered, then I'm on the right track. University of Ibadan, 5:46 p.m. The school hadn't changed much in 28 years. The mango trees still swayed beside the arts faculty. The smell of old books and palm oil still drifted from the hostels. And the senior common room? Still as noisy as a market square. But today it was quiet. Detective Iomedes Adebayo stood at the edge of Mellenby Hall, staring at the graffiti on the wall. Black Suns rule forever. It was old, faded, but it still lingered like a wound that never closed. He looked down at Samuel's notebook in his hand. This was the place where the story started, where his story started, and where his mother's ended. Iomedes' fingers gripped the notebook tighter. Inside were names of cult members, some dead, some disappeared. One still stood out. Lakun Baba, last known link. Ibadan. Lakun was a nobody now. Used to be a big boy. Now, word on the street said he was broke, hiding out in Iwo. But before Iomedes could leave, a voice behind him cut through the silence. You're not the first one digging here. He turned. A woman, mid-20s, slim, confident posture, camera bag over her shoulder. She looked familiar. I'm Shula, she said. Journalist. I know you. You're Iomedes Adebayo, right? Detective from Lagos. He didn't answer immediately. How do you know me? He asked. I've been following this trail for months. It led me here, and apparently, it led you too. Iomedes frowned. Why are you on this case? She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. Because someone buried the truth a long time ago. And it smells a lot like Alhaji Aziz. Iomedes paused. You really want to go after him? Shula nodded. I don't scare easy. He looked at her again. There was something about her face. Her voice. Like he'd seen it or heard it before. He just couldn't place it. We're chasing the same man, Iomedes said finally. Might as well not get in each other's way. Shula raised a brow. So we're partners now? He shrugged. Until one of us finds what we're looking for. Iwo Market, 7:12 p.m. They found Lakun Baba drunk outside an abandoned pharmacy. Shirt unbuttoned. One sandal missing. He was talking to himself. Lakun Baba. Iomedes called out. Lakun froze. I don't know anything. I beg, I've left that life. Shula stepped forward. We know who you were. We just want answers. He looked at them dazed. Answers? People who come for answers always die. Iomedes squatted in front of him. We know about Black Suns. We know about Bisola Adebayo. At the sound of the name, Lakun's eyes filled with something close to guilt. Her. I remember her. Clean girl. Holy girl. Shouldn't have been there. Why was she there? Iomedes asked. She followed her friend, the one dating Segan. It was a party. A stupid birthday party. Then he saw her. Aziz. Shula's breath caught. You knew Aziz? Lakun laughed bitterly. Knew him? He ran everything. Even our lecturer day, fear him. That man wasn't just a cultist. He was a spirit. He never got caught, never got dirty. But we all knew. We all saw. Iomedes' voice was cold. What did you see? Lakun hesitated. Then he whispered charm. He used charm. Put it in her drink. She smiled at him like he was her lover. She couldn't scream. She didn't fight. She didn't know what happened. Shula's stomach turned. Her hands clenched. Did you record it? Lakun nodded slowly. He did. Not me. He did. Weeks later, the video dropped in school groups. They laughed. Even people who loved her, they laughed. Iomedes looked away, jaw trembling. Shulaced. Where's the original tape? Lakun looked around. Gone. But I kept something. A copy. For insurance. In case he came for me. He pointed to a nearby kiosk. It's hidden in my bag. Inside a power bank. They followed him as he stumbled toward the stall. He reached for the bag, opened the side pocket, and, gunshot, blood exploded from his chest. Lakun fell, face first into the muddy ground. Iomedes ducked. Shula screamed. From the other side of the road, a man in a helmet dropped the gun and rode off on a black Okada. Iomedes chased him, but the bike was too fast. He turned back. Shula was on her knees, cradling Lakun. He's gone, she said. But Iomedes' eyes were scanning the bag. He pulled it open. The power bank was still there. He cracked it open, and inside, tightly sealed in plastic, was a mini SD card. Lagos, later that night. Inside a dark study lined with books, Alhaji Aziz Adediran stared at his phone. A grainy photo popped up. Lakun, dead. Another photo. Two figures beside the body. He zoomed in. Shula. Iomedes. He frowned. They're working together now, he muttered. He stared harder. Something in Iomede's eyes. His jawline. His silence. And Shula, that face. Aziz dropped the phone and poured himself a glass of whiskey. His hand was shaking now. He was too careful for this. Too powerful. Too covered. This wasn't supposed to happen. He walked to the window and looked out at the bright lights of Victoria Island, his empire built on secrets. Then he whispered to himself, "I'm losing grip." He turned back and picked up the phone. "Kill them. Both." Quietly. Lagos, 3:12 a.m. The rain had returned. It tapped against the windows of the barely lit motel where Ayomide and Shula sat in silence, soaked, shivering, and tried to make sense of what had just happened. Laken Baba was dead, murdered right in front of them. And now, they had a memory card that could either blow the case wide open or get them killed. Ayomide plugged the SD card into his laptop. Shula moved closer, her breath caught in her chest. The screen flickered. A folder popped up. 1996_party_night.mp4. Neither of them said anything. Ayomide clicked it. The video opened in static, then slowly cleared up. A room full of noise. Young men laughing. Loud music. Beer bottles on the floor. People dancing. Then the camera turned. She walked in Bisola. She looked like light in the middle of darkness. Innocent. Soft smile. Dressed in white, like she didn't belong there. Shula's eyes filled with tears. "That's her," she whispered. "That's the woman from the photo." Ayomide didn't blink. His fists clenched. Then they saw him. Aziz. Young. Calm. Smiling. He took Bisola's hand, led her to the center of the room, whispered something in her ear, then handed her a red cup. The rest of the video was quiet. Uncomfortable. A slow, terrifying build. Then the room faded. It was just her, lying on the bed, her face dazed, her eyes vacant. The camera shook as Aziz appeared again. He looked directly into it. "Let her forget," he whispered. "But we'll remember." Ayomide slammed the laptop shut. Shula looked sick. She rushed to the bathroom and vomited. Ayomide stood frozen, arms shaking. His mother. That was his mother. And that monster was his father. When Shula came back, her eyes were red. "How can someone do that and become a god in this country?" she said quietly. Ayomide didn't answer. His voice was stuck somewhere between rage and heartbreak. He finally whispered, "He's my father." Shula turned to him, confused. "What?" Ayomide's voice cracked. "Bisola, she wasn't my aunt. She was my mother. Samuel, he raised me. Because she couldn't. That video, what happened to her, destroyed her." Silence. Shula's mouth opened, then closed. Like her brain couldn't keep up. Ayomide went on. "Samuel left everything behind for me. And now he's dead." He looked up at her. "And I won't stop until Aziz is ruined." Shula's voice was small. "Then we're in this together." Ayomide narrowed his eyes. "Why do you care so much?" Shula hesitated. Then she reached in her bag and pulled out the old cold case file she'd found in Ilorin. She flipped to the back, pulled out a blood test result tucked in the envelope. "I found this inside Folloren's file. It was recent, from a lab in Ilorin." She handed it to him. Ayomide scanned the paper. His eyes widened. DNA match. 99.6%. Shola Balogu and Bisola Adebayo, deceased. Ayomide looked up. Shula gave a sad, tired smile. "She was my mother too." Elsewhere, Ikuyi, Lagos. Inside a private club with golden chandeliers and bulletproof windows, Aziz sat with two men in suits. His fingers drummed the table as one of them spoke. "They escaped. Laken is dead, but the boy has the video. And the girl, she's not just any reporter." Aziz's hand stopped. He looked up slowly. Aziz stood up, poured himself a drink, laughed once, dry and broken. No one spoke. He laughed again, harder this time, like something cracked open in him. He sipped the drink, then whispered, "Kill them quietly. No bullets, no blood, just silence. Make them disappear." 2 days later, Betagri outskirts. Ayomide and Shula had gone underground. They stayed in abandoned guest houses, used burner phones, slept in shifts, ate nothing but bread and bottled water. But they had everything: the video, the notebook, the voice recording, the network of names. What they didn't have was safety. Iomidi had one last move. He picked up the phone and called Folarin. "We have it all. We need the biggest platform. TV, radio, online. At once." Folarin's voice was calm. "Come to the station. Midnight. Bring everything." Shula looked uneasy. "You trust him?" Iomidi didn't answer. He wanted to, but deep down something felt off. Midnight. Vanguard Media HQ, Lagos Island. They arrived quietly. Folarin greeted them with open arms. "You did it. You found the truth." Shula handed him the drive. "Everything's here." Folarin plugged it in. The files opened. Then he left after confirming the evidence. Then all the lights went out. Total darkness. A single voice echoed from behind. "I told you both not to trust anyone." A gun clicked. Iomidi spun around. It was Inspector Bello, his old partner, the one who betrayed Samuel, the one who'd been missing since the lagoon incident. "You again," Iomidi hissed. Bello smirked. "You're too smart for your own good." He raised the gun. 2 shots. Iomidi dropped first. Shula screamed. She ran, but he grabbed her hair, yanked her back. "You're lucky you won't feel a thing." One more shot, then silence. 3 weeks later, National Courthouse, Abuja. The courtroom was packed. Folarin, Shola Minter stood, holding a stack of documents. The judge looked down. "You say you have new evidence?" Folarin nodded. "From 2 brave souls. Both now dead. Both. Aziz's children." Gasps. Cameras clicked. Folarin inserted the flash drive. The room watched in horror as the video played, as Aziz's crimes unfolded, as truth crushed the illusion. And Aziz? He stood in the dock, pale, trembling. "They were my children," he muttered. "Both of them." He collapsed. Kirikiri maximum prison, 3 months later. They didn't put Aziz in the regular cells. No, men like him got special treatment, even after everything. A padded cell, air conditioning, books, a small TV with 3 channels. But none of it mattered now. He sat in the corner of the room, hunched over, whispering names into the darkness. Bisola, Samuel, Iomidi, Shula. He hadn't touched the food tray in 2 days. His hair had started turning white. The man once called the people's father now looked like a ghost, because ghosts had come for him. Every night he saw them. Samuel, standing in the rain, holding the black envelope. Bisola, dressed in white, staring at him with those eyes full of sorrow. Shula, mouth open in mid-scream. Iomidi, bleeding, crawling toward the light, still fighting, still holding on. Aziz hadn't said a word to anyone since the sentencing. Life imprisonment. No parole, no sympathy, and now no legacy. He had built his empire on blood and silence. And it all burned down because of the 2 people he never even knew he had. Lagos, Vanguard Memorial Lecture Hall. The crowd stood in silence as Folarin stepped up to the podium. Behind him were 2 framed photos. Iomidi in his police cadet uniform, and Shula holding a camera, smiling wide. A plaque underneath read, "In loving memory of Iomidi Adebayo and Shola Balogu, truth carved in blood." Folarin took a deep breath. "They were brave," he began. "But more than that, they were determined. 2 strangers chasing the same ghost. They could have walked away, but they didn't." He paused. "They wanted justice. Not just for their mother, not just for their uncle, but for all of us." People clapped, quietly at first, then louder. In the back of the room, the Oduyamis, Shula's adoptive parents, held hands, heads bowed. And in the second row, a woman sat in a wheelchair, wrapped in a blue shawl. Old, frail, but still alive. It was Mama Bisola, the twins' grandmother. She had cried every day since the trial ended. Not out of grief, but relief. That finally, someone had listened. That finally, someone had remembered her daughter. Ibadan, Samuel's bungalow. It was raining again. A small group of neighbors stood in front of the old house, placing flowers at the gate. Someone had painted over the door in white letters, "The man who fought alone." Inside, Folarin quietly packed Samuel's journals into a glass display case. They would be moved to a new exhibit in Ibadan's National Museum. The Brotherhood Files. He opened the last journal and paused on one line, written in red ink. "If I can't save her memory, I will raise her justice." He closed the book, tears in his eyes. 6 months later, in the live national broadcast, the president, a new face, young, independent, unbought, stood before the nation. He addressed the country with a firm voice. We were almost swallowed by lies, but the truth came back. Through the blood of the innocent, we were cleansed. He lifted a plaque. "Today, we name this Anti-Corruption Act after the two brave souls who changed our history." He read it aloud. "The Shilai Omidi Transparency Bill." Applause thundered, and across the nation, people remembered. Not the politician, not the power, but the truth. Kirikiri, one final time. Aziz sat in the corner, shivering, eyes glazed. He spoke to the empty room. "I just wanted to be remembered." He leaned his head back and whispered to the ceiling. "But not like this." Then he closed his eyes and never opened them again. They never found another politician like him again. Not because they stopped existing, but because the country started watching. Whispers became voices. Voices became movements. Movements became change. And in quiet corners of Lagos and Ibadan, murals appeared. Paintings of two siblings standing side by side, holding a torch, lighting up the darkness behind them. No one ever questioned why they looked so alike. Because they didn't need to. Some truths don't need explanation. Only remembrance.